Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, igama AsandaNtini, and welcome to my channel, and yes, welcome to Faith Corner. If you are new here, I post content on my life as an attorney, my faith journey as a Christian, and share insights on my career, bit of fitness and lifestyle. So if you are new here, let's just do life together. Hi. Yeah, so today we're going to speak about something very important, something that just on us. If you've seen my blog, I have a blog. I don't post it every week. I don't post it every month. I just post it when I get the chance. And this week I spoke about Matthew 7 verse 7. Basically, I was just speaking on what I've seen as the secret of life and what I can actually attest as the secret of life. And this video is just going to be an expansion of that. I'll link the blog on here so that you can just get a look of it as well. And yeah, it's not long, so if you are not much of a reader, don't worry, it's not long at all. Yeah, so verse 7, Matthew 7 verse 7 to 9 speaks about seeking, asking, seeking, knocking, and receiving. And then it speaks about 1/5 important thing of having faith to have received whatever that you ask. And then verse 8 and 9 speaks of what makes you think that your father would not give you what you ask. The more it speaks of why you actually don't get what you ask. You don't get what you ask because you believe that you're not going to get what you ask, basically. In a nutshell, that's what those last two verses say. Because it says that your father in heaven, your father wouldn't give you what you don't ask. They'll give you what you ask. So what makes you think that your father in heaven, who's capable, who's able, who's all of these good things, would give you what you didn't ask for? So I know that a lot of people speak of controversy, say that this verse is one of the most controversial things in the Bible and in life, but it's not just Christian faith. It's not just any person that you speak of who is spiritual. Even in other religions, in other dominations, one thing that they say, if you are asking for what you are asking for, you're going to get it, but you have to believe that you're going to get it. You have to believe that if they're saying that believe in your own power, if they're saying that believe in whatever religion you might hear this from, the one thing, the trick or the secret of it all is that believe that you will get what you ask for. There's no you're not gonna get, you're only gonna get this if you do this. The power is in us. Even when you look at Genesis in the creation, and he says that I give you power and dominion over these things. Now, the first thing that you need to do is to believe in yourself, believe in your ability to be able to act, to even be bold to ask about things, to ask for things. Let me speak of my journey in asking and in believing that I'll get something. I was going to grade 10. I had to change schools in December, and I was going to this particular school. And obviously, if you're applying in January, you're unlikely to get space in the school. Hadn't even received my transfer. Haven't even taken my transfer. So we applied to my high school that I went to. And then my aunt, or my stepmom at that time, my step aunt, yeah, my uncle who I lived with at that before that, had been engaged to this particular person, and she was asking where am I going to go to school in January, because she wanted to just maybe I should just come back. And I was like, no, I'm going to my high school, and I'm starting next week. Schools were open on that day. I had not received even a confirmation that I'm in the waiting list. Even a confirmation that they taken me. I was just put in the waiting list, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to the school. I'm going to the school." And I remember, I still remember the setup. There was a tree in front of our house. We were sitting there with my mom, my actual mom, and she's like, "Haibo, why are you saying you going to the school? Agaga, they haven't responded." I was like, "I'm going to the school." And during that time, I was fasting, praying, and believing and declaring that I'm going to the school. And when I look back now, I realize I was actually just living in my Matthew 7 verse 7 lifestyle. And when I go back now in faith, not just in that particular moment, everything that I've actually had in my life. I've spoken about this in one of my videos about getting into articles, my last video on my career progression. But everything that I've had, I can tell you now, everything that I had, the moment that I feel, touch, and believe that it's mine, it's always mine. It's always mine. And most of the time, it's always a matter of how will this even be possible? First time I had an apartment, one of the things about being an attorney, when you make an application for apartments, a lot of landlords are like, "I don't want an attorney in my place. They're going to fight me about the contract and whatnot." So I had one. The moment that they asked what's my profession, I tell you this, the first time they're like, and when I got into that apartment, it was nicer than the apartment that I lived in, but it just didn't feel like a place that I wanted to live. But I was there and I was like, okay, I'm going to put in my application, and even made payments immediately. That was in 2022. I do that, and a week later she comes back, the agent comes back and says, "No, the landlord said that she wants to renovate her place." And I was like, "Oh, I knew it. She's not going to accept my application, and I'm not going to live in this place." Then the following week, or 2 weeks later, I think, I went to the apartment that I'm going to live with. The first things first, I put in like the query online. Then the agent calls me and says, "The landlord is available to meet with you and wants to just meet the person that's going to live in their place in person, and wants to see if they want to proceed. Any person that views, they want to meet them and see if they actually want them to come into their apartment." So I go into the apartment. The moment that I walk in, I felt like that's my place. I felt like that's where I'm going to live. And I knew I was going to live there. And again, my circumstances were still the same. I was still an attorney. One of the things that were raised is that you've just started working. You don't have a pay slip in the previous application. You don't have a pay slip yet. You just have a contract. This one was like, okay, I see this confirmation, credit check, because I do have a good credit score, by the way, just to brag. So like, okay, then he was like, "I'd like you to live in this place. Let me know tomorrow if you like it." It was now a turn of events. "Let me know if you'd like to stay here, and I'll come through and then put in your application. But I will tell the agent that I want you to stay at the place." It was as simple as that, because when I got there, I believed that I will get it. I asked for it in my prayer that I would actually like to live in here. And I believed that I would live in there more than anything, more than just one would like to, but I felt that I wanted to. If you read books like The Secret, it says that you have to know that right now you have this thing, instead of saying, "I would like to." Change your vocabulary when you are praying. Don't say, "I would like to have this." Say it with authority and dominion that you have. Like, I have this particular thing. I have this particular thing. Even with my car, the moment that I got into this car, it was actually brought to me at work for viewing. I was like, okay, I sat in this car. I was like, okay, I'd like my uncle to see it. I would like my partner to see it. But this is my car. I like this car. Send in the application, but I'd also just like people who are male male humans and no cars to actually assess the car. But this is my car. This is the car that I will be driving. I like it. And it was as simple as that. I've seen others like before that one. They all just didn't feel like they were my car. And I would be like, yeah, that's just not my car. And until it was, you know the feeling of love at first sight? Yeah, it was that feeling. And I was like, in everything that I do, I need to apply that. Even with jobs, when I apply, I remember the job before this one in that big corporate, I had 2 interviews that week. One for a very big position and one for that particular position that I ended up going for. The moment that I did that interview, when I came out of it, I was like, yeah, that's my job. I'm going to do well in it. I'm not going to stay long, but it's going to be my job. The day that I did the second one, I was like, I did very well in that interview. I even got an email complimenting me on how good I was. And I was like, but I'm not ready for that position. It requires somebody who's older and has more experience. And the response that I got, the outcome was that you were actually better than any other candidate, but we worried about your experience. It's like part of governance, so it was going to be something that's going to be very challenging, and I don't think I would have stayed long in it. And they were like, but we actually liked you. And I was like, yeah, I know, but we're not going to work. So why is it so difficult for people to not apply this into everything? It's just a matter of maybe looking around at circumstances. The how doesn't matter. I had to remind myself this whole week, this whole month, every day when I wake up, like the how doesn't matter. It's like all of these things, the how just didn't matter. Even this job that I have right now, I've shared this story. Got a regret, then later on I was actually invited to do an interview. There was a mistake with whatever. Even with this job, even with the place that I'm moving into. I got a place, by the way. Yay! I got a place, by the way. And even the how didn't matter. One, again, I've just started working. So when people start just working, agents are very skeptical about giving you the apartment. And it was a matter of me saying that this is my apartment. Again, I had the same feeling when I walked in. I was like, I see myself getting out of here, driving to work, driving from work, running. I see myself here. I'm going to live here before even putting in the application. When I put in the application and when it came back, it actually came back firstly as negative, and it was like, but I want to do everything that I can for you to get, do you want this apartment? I was like, that's where I want to live and that's where I'm going to live. And I was like, okay, I'll just tell the landlord that you are the best candidate for this apartment. I was like, sure. And then I went on, paid deposit and everything. And I'm like, I'm going to be living there. And you have to know, guys, like my message for this week is you have to know, you have to believe, and you just have to be sure. Because the answer is always yes. If you are not sure, the answer will be yes. Okay, she's not sure. So we're going to give her the not sure response. In everything, if you are not sure, if you are sure, we're going to give you what you are sure of. But if you are not sure, or if you give up in persisting in whatever that you want, in seeking whatever that you want, the answer will then obviously be a response of you giving up. But if you detach from the wanting and just say, yes, I want this thing, vibrate in having this thing, and move along life believing, understanding that your Father in heaven would not give you what you didn't ask for. Like, that's one mistake that people say when they stop seeking and stop asking and stop knocking. They're like, no, it's not the time. No, what it's actually usually means is that you gave up on what you wanted God to get what you wanted from God. And when you gave up, you are now using your playing small, you're not being sure, as an excuse for God, when actually he doesn't need our excuses. He's very sure and he's always willing to say yes. But we have to be sure about what we want. We have to be sure and believing that he's able to give us what we want. And I'm telling you now, the answer is always yes. If you don't believe me, read the book of Matthew. Read even the Bible. Like, there's so much more things, there are more evidence in the Bible that says that God will give us what we want. And yeah, I love you lots, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.